Can you imagine going to a listing appointment and you're so excited? Maybe it's your first one, right? And you're like, I did a really good CMA on this one, right? And you walk in there with the seller and you just give them the whole spiel. And you're like, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I've done this CMA. And I really feel confidently that we can probably get between $375 and $400 for your house. How does that sound? And they say, we owe $450. And you're just like, shit. So the last thing on the list was the seller's existing mortgage information. Folks, why do you need to know about their existing mortgage information?
Confirm payoff.
That's right. Give us that money. Them dollar bills, y'all. Folks, you've got to know if you can help them sell it and help them get a profit and you get paid. Because can you imagine going to a listing appointment and you're so excited? Maybe it's your first one, right? And you're like, I did a really good CMA on this one, right? And you walk in there with the seller and you just give them the whole spiel. And you're like, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I've done this CMA. And I really feel confidently that we can probably get between $375 and $400 for your house. How does that sound? And they say, we owe $450. And you're just like, shit. Because it's changed things completely, right? Because now what are you going to do? Folks, understand that this kind of thing does happen. And sometimes it's the seller's fault and sometimes it's not the seller's fault. But if you're in a situation where they owe more than what you could sell for, it's either going to go into foreclosure because they're going to stop making the payments, or you would have to facilitate a short sale. And a short sale is something you can do, but it is a very different ballgame that involves a whole lot more work. Now, nobody panic. We're going to talk about short sales. You do still get paid for short sales, but it's not really worth the work. I mean, the amount of things that go into it. So the idea is we need to know what they owe so we can create a net sheet. Everybody in here using a net sheet? Yeah, no, some people. Let me show you this. Here's the one I use. Anytime I'm working with a seller and I've done my CMA and I've given them a set of ranges, low, middle, high end of the ranges. And then you start plugging in information. So I've got their first mortgage payoff, if there's a second mortgage, if there's a home equity line. And as I plug in numbers, it calculates down here at the bottom what I think their net's going to be. And so I actually go in here typically and I'll do the prorated taxes, prorated HOA dues, revenue stamps, meaning excise tax calculates automatically, commissions calculate automatically. I put in what the listing side is, the buyer side is, and so it'll spit out a number. And so I'll say, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, if we sell for $350, you'll walk away with about $142. If we sell for $370, you walk away with about $160. And if we sell for $385, you'll walk away with about $174, $880. So then you come down and you ask them to sign it. And the reason why this is important is so, number one, you know that you've gone over it with them and they're happy with that number, so they can't come back at you when it falls in this range. But number two, if it comes up in the title search that they have a second mortgage of like $80,000 and they say, well, you said I was going to make $142. And I say, well, you said you only owed $186 and you signed that, right? That's it.